3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne, in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them, in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. Hello everyone, my name's Elspeth. Welcome to the Planeswalker Pantheon. Today, we are opening up a draft booster box of the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth set. It's the first Universes Beyond set that is not a Commander set, so it's a full-on draft set that you can draft and collect and play. Anyway, from modern to vintage, if anything is deemed powerful enough to get into that. Anyways, enough about that. Let's get into this wonderful box, shall we? It's been a while since I personally have read Lord of the Rings. Of course, I watch the movies any opportunity I get, because just movies is a little bit easier accessible, at least for me. But I was actually kind of excited when they announced this, because who doesn't love Lord of the Rings? Of course, our wonderful box topper, which we'll save right for the end, and all of our packs. Alright, we'll start with the first one, as we always shall. Got some commons. We have the Fiery Inscription, which is actually the full inscription that's on the ring in the actual black speech, which is pretty neat. Bitter Downfall, so it's Boromir's Fall. Faramir Field Commander, very nice in the alternate frame. And our first rare Shagrat Loot Bearer, 2 black and red, legendary creature, Orc Soldier, 4/4. When it attacks, attach up to 1 target equipment to it, then amass Orcs X, where X is the number of equipment attached to Shagrat. And we have a plains and a food. Yep, and the positioning actually doesn't look half bad. We'll just do a little minor adjustment here. Next one up. Now, of course, I'm looking for Orcish Bowmasters, just like everyone else. The more delighted halflings would be great. Torn from the Ramparts for Queen Marchesa. That's a lot of things for Commander, really. I don't know what, if any of these things will make it. We've got Old Man Willow. Ehrenbrand, Lord of Westfold. Shortcut to Mushrooms, and our rare, it's a full art Galadriel of Lothran, 1 green and blue legendary creature, Elf Noble, 3/3. When it tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Galadriel, as your ring bearer, you scry 3. Whenever you scry, you may reveal the top card of your library. If a land card is revealed this way, put it on the battlefield tapped. Have our island and some treasure. Yeah, I've always loved Lord of the Rings. I try to watch it at least once a year, at least. But yeah, always loved myself some fantasy. Got more commons. Rising of the Day. We got Rosie Cotton of South Lane. Samwise's eventual love by the end of it, all things. Prince Imril the Fair as our 3rd uncommon. And we have Boromir, Warden of the Tower, 2 and a white, legendary creature, human soldier, 3/3 vigilance. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana is spent to cast it, counter that spell. Sacrifice Boromir, creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn, and the ring tempts you. We have a foil Shagrat Loot Bearer right there too. We won't read that because we already know what that does. And we have the ring. Alright, next one in. Blade. Yeah. We've got a Dunlan Creban as our extended art. Fear Fire Foes. Lorenfell Dauntless Recruiter. Elrond Lord of Rivendell. And we have our first mythic. It's the Witch King of Angramar. 3 black legendary creature, Wraith Noble, 5/3 with flying. Whenever one or more creatures deal combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature that dealt combat damage to you this turn. The ring tempts you. Discard a card. Witch King gains indestructible until end of turn and tap it. We have another mountain and an orc army. Really neat that they decided to reflavor Amass, because I loved Amass during War of the Spark. It was a cool mechanic, and the fact that they've got this Amass, I believe Amass, the original Amass will now be flavored just to Amass zombies. So it'll be a zombie army. And this is now an orc army, so I'm kind of happy they brought that back. And they brought Skulk back, which was, I did not have that on my personal Magic Bingo card. Horse of Brunnen, Book of Marzabor. Peregrine Took, you fool of a Took! In the alt art. I have Sharky, Tyrant of the Shire. 2 blue and black, legendary creature, avatar, rogue, 2/4. Activated abilities of lands your opponent's control can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Sharky has all activated abilities of lands your opponent's control except mana abilities. Mana of any type can be spent to activate Sharky's abilities. And we have a foil Oath of the Grey Host. And Mountain and Orc Army. One thing I will say, I don't know if I like this frame if you're going to apply it to all Universes Beyond cards. I know it's probably really expensive to design a new frame for every Universes Beyond, but the frame worked for Warhammer. You know, this look worked for the Warhammer decks. We have many partings in the sort of the panorama. Irma of the Riddermark, 4 and a red, legendary, Irma of the Riddermark, Stern Scolding, try saying that 3 times fast, Nazgul, and Elven Chorus, 3 and a green. Enchantment, you may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any colour. So if you like, what was it? Cryptolith Rites? I think it's a little bit more of an expensive Cryptolith Rites. Can't remember the cost of Cryptolith Rites off the top of my head, but it's Cryptolith Plus. Shadowfax Lord of Horses. The fact they put the definition of haste on this card, and I saw this previewed, I laughed for a solid 5 minutes. Celeborn the Wise, Frodo Baggins, and Call of the Ring. 1 and a black and enchantment. Near upkeep, the ring tempts you. Whenever you choose a creature to be your ring bearer, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. And all pretty swamp right there. And a tentacle. I'm not going to make any jokes that don't need to be made already. Alright. Pippin's Bravery in the panorama art. Saruman's Trickery. Gorebag of Minas Mogul. Gwyndala the Windlord. And our rare is Goldberry River Daughter. 1 and a blue, legendary creature nymph, 1/3. Tap to move a counter of each kind not on Goldberry from another target permanent you control onto Goldberry. Blue, tap, move 1 more counters from Goldberry onto another target permanent you control. If you do, draw a card. Pretty Plains and the Ring. Next one up. Alright. But yeah, there's so many small references. Lash of the Balrog from the panorama artwork. Stew the Conies! I'm sad there's no potatoes. Goblin Fire Leaper, Meridoc Brandybuck, and Barad-dûr. It's our first legendary land. It's a legendary land. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. Tap to add black. XX and black. Tap Amass Orcs X. Activate only if a creature died this turn. Swamp. Oops. And I flipped another ring into the fires. Next one up. Forgive me if I start reading some of the flavor texts and doing my best worst impressions of some of these actors who I absolutely adore. Rising of the Day in the panorama artwork. Rosie Cotton of South Lane. Gothmag Mogul Lieutenant. And the Battle of Bywater. 1 and 2 white sorcery. Destroy a creature with power 3 or greater, then create a food token for each creature you control. So it's a slightly better Fell the Mighty. Maybe not Fell the Mighty, but I remember there is a board wipe that does second breakfast. The hobbits of the Shire were fond of 6 meals a day when they could get them. Island and food to go with our second breakfast. Next one up. Reprieve. So white finally gets a remand. Mouth of Sauron. The Bath Song. And we got our Bowmasters! 1 in a black creature, orc, archer, 1/1 flash. When it enters the battlefield, and whenever an opponent draws a card except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, it deals 1 damage to any target, then amass orcs 1. Got a mountain and a token that no one really cares about. I miss when they just used to put actual tokens in every single pack. I've had this rant myself many a times, but it bears repeating. Every pack should be an actual token that you can use. Mendelor Swift Savior. Rangers Firebrand. Butterbur Bree Innkeeper. And our rare is... it's a normal Galadriel that we opened up earlier in the full art. So really nice, we've got more of those. And a foil Boromir, Warden of the Tower. And our spirit token. Next one up. Yeah. I'm just wondering, have I met any of the Lord of the Rings cast? No. No, I've met a lot of Game of Thrones actors. And by a lot, I mean exactly 2. Eowyn, Lady of Rohan. Ireth, of the Healing House. Ringsight. And our rare. We got Smeagol, Helpful Guide in the alternate art. 1 black and green legendary creature, halfling horror. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, the ring tempts you. Whenever the ring tempts you, target opponent reveals the top card of their library until they reveal a land. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped under your control and the rest into their graveyard. And a forest and another ring. Next one up. Alright, sorry, I got momentarily distracted because some of these cards I have not even seen yet. We have a Barrowblade, Fearfire Foes, Gandalf, Friend of the Shire, and our rare, Lothro, Corrupt Sheriff. White and a black legendary creature, halfling rogue, 2/1. Whenever a player casts a second spell each turn, you lose a life and create a treasure. Whatever is wrong in the Shire, Lothro will be at the bottom of it. You can be sure of that. That's not even close to how Pippin sounds. Pippin's a little bit more joyful. That sounds more like the way they said that sound more like Sam. At least in my head. Alright. We have Bilbo, Retired Burglar. Dunedain Rangers. Bill the Pony, and we have another mythic. It's Glamdring. 2 mana legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature has first strike and gets +1/+0 for each instant and sorcery in your graveyard. Whenever an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to that damage without paying its mana cost. Equipped for 3. Mountain and a human soldier. Next one up. I love that Bill is a legendary horse. I love that for him, because he's such a faithful animal. We have Denethor, Ruling Steward. You cannot pass! Elrond, Lord of Rivendell, and another Goldberry, River Daughter, and a swamp and an orc army. I forgot, because I haven't read the books for a long time. I forgot that it was never You Shall Not Pass, because Shall Not just feels better. Now for Wrath, now for Ruin. We have Arwen Undamel, Bill Fenny Bree Swindler, Theoden King of Rohan, and we have our full art mythic and spiteful banditry. X and 2 red enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, it deals X damage to each creature. Whenever one or more creatures your opponents control die, you create a treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. And a foil, the Black Breath. And a swamp to go with it. Next one up. Two, said Gimli, patting his axe. We have a panorama art nasty end. We've got March from the Black Gate, Grond the Gatebreaker, Samwise the Stout-Hearted, and hey, Delighted Halfling. Single green creature, Halfling citizen, 1/2, tap to add a colourless or tap to add 1 mana of any colour. Spend this mana only to cast a legendary spell, and that spell can't be countered. A forest and an orc army. Next one up. I mean, I could just quit the box right there. I mean, we hit all the sort of nearly all the big ticket items. But we keep, the road goes ever on. The Book of Marzabul, Horses of the Bruin, Frodo Baggins in the tempted artwork, I guess we'll call it. We have King of the Oathbreakers, 2 white and black legendary creature, Spirit Noble, 3/3. It has flying. When it or another spirit you control becomes the target of a spell, it phases out. Whenever King of the Oathbreakers or another spirit you control phases in, create a tapped 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. And a foil Call of the Ring, which we read earlier. Next one up. We have a Shire Sheriff, Voracious Fellbeast in the panorama artwork, Quick Beam Upstart Ent, and a rare Born Upon a Wind. 1 a blue instant, you may cast spells this turn as though they had flash, draw a card. And a Plains and a Ballistic Boulder. Duke. Mirkwood Bats. Man, this is such a win con in Limited. Golem's Bite. Saruman the White. Stone of Inric. And we have Sauron the Necromancer. 3 and 2 black for a legendary creature avatar horror 4/4 with menace. Whenever Sauron attacks, exile target creature card from your graveyard. Create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that card, except it's the 3/3 black wraith with menace. Beginning of the next end step, exile that token unless Sauron is your ring bearer. I have a Rally at the Hornburg, and a Swamp, and a Shelob Food. It was funny, when I was doing the pre-release for this set, I opened like one of the nice looking foods, you know, like one of the Hobbit foods, yeah? And then immediately in the pack after I opened the Shelob one. That was like one of the quickest sort of changes in tone I'd ever seen from a pack of Magic cards. We have Oath of the Grey Host, Ulguk of the White Hand, and Draft Basin, And Sauron's Ransom. So 1 blue and a black instant. Choose an opponent. They look at the top 4 cards of your library and separate them into a face down and face up pile. Put 1 pile into your hand, the other into your graveyard. The ring tempts you. Island and a token that no one cares about. Next one up. Alright. Oliphant? I'm so happy to see they made land cycling 1 for this, at least for this set, unless that's how they're going to be doing land cycling from now on. Gandalf Sanction, Lorenfell Dauntless Rescuer, Gimli Counter of Kills. Honestly, if someone came to me in Command and said, hey, look, I want to play a timid deck with the Legolas and Gimli of this, I'd be absolutely fine with that. And Horn of Gondor. 3 mana legendary artifact. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. 3 tap, create X 1/1 human creature tokens, where X is the number of humans you control. Got a plains and an orc army. But yeah, if someone showed me, hey, I've got a Gimli and Legolas Counter of Kills commander deck, would you be okay if I ran them sort of as partners? Sure. Because honestly, I think they should have been partners. Like, put them in the commander deck, one of the commander decks, and make them partners. Because that would have been great, even just for flavor purposes. Ema of the Riddlemark, Rise of the Witch King, Stern Scolding, Fool of a Took. This is a serious journey, not a hobbit walking party. Throw yourself in next time, and then you will be of no further nuisance. Now be quiet. We got the 1 ring, not the shiny special one, but it's still the 1 ring. 4 mana legendary artifact, indestructible. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you gain protection from everything until your next turn. Beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life for each burden counter on the 1 ring. Tap, put a burden counter on the 1 ring, then draw a card for each burden counter on it. Mountain and a human soldier. I just want to say Fool of a Took, because I remember that scene so vividly from the films. You know, and just sort of seeing that there. It's so nice. Alright. Arwen Undel. Another Reprieve. The Bath Song. And Display of Power. 1 and 2 red instant. This spell can't be copied. Copy any number of target instant or sorcery spells. You may choose new targets for the copies. Got a plains and a treasure. Next one up. Tale of Tunavel. Mirror of Galadriel, Golem Patient Plotter, and we got a Panorama Art Flame of Anor, 1 blue and red for an instant. Choose 1. If you control a wizard as you cast a spell, you may choose 2 instead. Target player draws 2 cards, destroy target artifact, or it deals 5 damage to target creature. You cannot pass in foil. When you say you shall not or cannot pass, you really need to put yourself in. If you do it by halves, I think you failed the assignment. And it was so cool to have Christopher Lee, rest his soul, as part of it, because he was one of the few people who actually knew Tolkien. Landrevel Horizon Witness, Mahor Uruk-hai Captain, Nazgul. There are also 9 different artworks. And Merry Esquire of Rohan, red and white legendary creature halfling knight, 2/2 with haste. It has first strike as long as it's equipped. And whenever you attack with Merry and another legendary creature, draw a card. And we have a foil Denethor ruling steward, and a plains, and some food. Ah, good old Hobbit meals. I think English breakfasts, at least in my head, is probably like the closest one could ever come to Hobbit meals, just because there's just so much. But I don't know. I mean, if you know of a way to sort of, I would love to eat like a hobbit for a day. Gift of the Strands, nice. Referencing the fact that Gladriel gifted some of her hair to Gimli. Friendly rivalry. Samwise the Stout-Hearted, and our rare is Gimli Mournful Avenger. 1 red and green legendary creature dwarf warrior, 3/2. It has indestructible as long as 2 or more creatures died under your control this turn. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Gimli. When this ability resolves for the 3rd time, Gimli fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. And we have a full Urgluk of a White Hand and a Forest. Alright, next one up. Alright. Milindor Swift Savior. Rangers Firebrand. March from the Black Gate. And Eowyn Fearless Knight. 2 red and white, legendary creature, human knight, 3/4 with haste. When she enters the battlefield, exile a target creature an opponent controls with greater power. Legendary creatures you control gain protection from each of that creature's colours until end of turn. And a forest and a spirit. Sorry, it took me a moment. I don't know why. Next one up. I love doing this. Knights of Dol Amroth. We have the Grey Havens. Gothmog Mogul Lieutenant. Foray of Orcs, and our rare is another Sharky Tyrant of the Shire. We won't read double ups if I can remember what we've doubled up on. I've usually got a good memory for this, so I'm saving a little bit of time there. But if it's new and I remember it, I'll read it out. Dunlin Creban. We have the Mouth of Sauron. Theoden, King of Rohan. Lost to Legend. And we've got a mythic, it's Tom Bombadil. For the full woo bag, you get a legendary creature, God Bard. I mean, don't all bards think they're gods? Let's be real. It's a 4/4. As long as there are 4 or more lore counters among sagas you control, Tom Bombadil has hexproof and indestructible. Whenever the final chapter of a saga you control resolves, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a saga card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This ability triggers only once each turn. In other words, the song goes ever on and on. You've got a swamp and the ring. It's a song that never ends with Tom Bombadil. Alright. We have Strider, Ranger of the North. Shadow Summoning. Council's Deliberation. And we have Lost Isle Calling, 1 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever you scry, put a verse counter on Lost Isle Calling. 4 and 2 blue, exile it. Draw a card for each verse counter on Lost Isle. If it has 7 or more verse counters, take an extra turn after this one. Activate only as a sorcery. Got a swamp and a treasure. Next one up. We have Grima Wormtongue, little snake, long list of the Ints, Legolas Counter of Kills, and Fanghorn Tree Shepherd. 4 and triple green, legendary creature, tree folk, 4/10. Tree folk you control a vigilance. Whenever 1 or more tree folk you control attack, add twice that much green. You don't lose unspent green mana as steps and phases end. Got an island and another orc army. All the armies shall be assembled at the Black Gate. Alright. Mirkwood Bats. We have Grishnark, Brash Instigator. Shadowfax, Lord of Horses. Celeborn the Wise. And our rare is Rivendell. Legendary land enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. Tap to add blue. 1 and a blue. Scry 2. Activate only if you control a legendary creature. And a foil Shire Scarecrow. Island and an Orc army. Alright, this will be our second last pack. Alright. Butterberry Innkeeper. Grond the Gatebreaker. Rise of the Witch King. And we've got another mythic. It's Mount Doom itself. Legendary land. Tap, pay 1 life, add black or red. 1 black and red. It deals 1 damage to each opponent. 5 black and red. Sacrifice Mount Doom and the legendary artifact. Choose up to 2 target creatures and destroy the rest. Activate only as a sorcery. And a foil Oliphant. Got an island and our Orc army. And this will be the last pack. Oops, sorry. Nearly miscounted there. We've got Bill the Pony, Bilbo Retired Burglar, Dunedain Rangers, and we have Sting Glinting Dagger. 2 mana legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature is +1/+1 in haste. At the beginning of each combat, untap the equipped creature. Equipped creature has first strike as long as it's blocking or blocked by a goblin or orc, and equip it for 2. A foil forest, normal mountain, and a food. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, actually, before we get going, I nearly forgot our little box topper. Let's see. What treasures await us at the box topper? There we go. Alright. There it is. Let's open this up. Good, opened it the right way, so I didn't spoil myself. And our box topper is the Party Treats, the Great Henge. So if you know what the Great Henge is, you know what the Great Henge is. 7 to green for the Great Henge. Let's be real, never paying that much. It costs X less to cast, where X isn't the greatest power among creatures you control. Tap to add 2 green and gain 2 life. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield and you control, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw a card. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe. Lets people know that I exist and I'm opening these packs for mostly my entertainment, but hopefully you get a bit of entertainment out of it yourself. If you can follow me on Twitter, links are down below. You can also find us at the Planeswalker Pantheon. Before we go, I have another pre-release code. I can only use my one already at the pre-release, so I figured I'd gift one out to someone out there. So there's the code there. I'll also read it out. 4EFF 46CO2F 13DE4 5EED 7991E1. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.